All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's Shiur should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and the Refuah Shalema Bekorov Mishalom ben Sarachel, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yeshia ben Chaya Atara. Today we are on page 203 in the art scroll for those who are following along. We started off yesterday that there are 7 different There are 7 different reasons as to why the Torah doesn't discuss Olam Ha'bah. Yesterday, when we were finishing off the 3rd reason, we talked about that the Yidden, when they came out of Mitzrayim, we weren't on that level. We had an immature level of understanding and conceptualize what it means, the reward in Olam Ha'bah. So Hashem couldn't give us a reason that if you do the mitzvos, then you're going to get rewarded in Olam Ha'bah, because it was too far-fetched. And we brought the example like a father, when he teaches his young child to do good and to do mitzvahs, when he encourages them, that the father starts off when they're young, he gives the son treats and he gives him, gifts. And also he punishes the child, maybe takes away, his playtime or whatever it is, and in lieu of those mitzvos, or if he does averos. And so the same is with Hashem. Hashem, when the Yidden came out of Mitzrayim, Hashem couldn't explain in the Torah what that is, Olam Ha'bah, because they wouldn't understand it. I want to finish that little piece off before we get into the 4th reason as to why the Torah doesn't mention Olam Ha'bah. And he says over here, how we explain this, Hashem acts similarly. He says, V'chein habori yizbarach, so too Hashem, yichal amoy v'evchidam b'gmul v'oinish memarim. By describing the consequences in this world for people's actions, Hashem encourages his nation with the promise of immediate reward and frightens them with immediate punishment, which led even the weaker ones amongst the Yidden who came out of Mitzrayim to do the right thing, to start following the Torah. So you see over here, Hashem started off small with us, as we're immature, we're young, we're little kids. He did this because he knew that once the people became accustomed to his service, once people got used to doing the mitzvahs and understanding more as to what they're there for, that we're doing that for his will, their small-mindedness and lack of understanding regarding schara and punishment in Olam Ha'bah, it would fall away. It would leave them, and they would then be able to direct their intentions in their service and to doing their mitzvahs and towards Hashem and Hashem only, lishmah. So the concept over there was that at the end of the day, Hashem did that is so that he could encourage us to get used to it, get used to doing mitzvahs, see how nice it is. I'll give you treats, I'll give you reward on Olam Hazeh for those things that you do. I'm going to punish you also if you do averos, to get used to that. And then once you get a little older, and as we get older, we learn more, we understand more, we're more mature to grasp the concept that, maybe we need to start doing things because Hashem wants us to do that. And that, now, later on, we realize it's not for the treats that we get. It's not for the little rewards that we get, that we do these mitzvahs. It's not that ulterior motive. The whole motive that we do those mitzvahs is just because we want to do avodas Hashem. And to achieve this goal, Hashem deliberately doesn't describe Olam Ha'bah in the Torah. And he says over here in the Cliff Notes, it says, like a father treats his son. We just spoke about that, right? He says, while Chodesh focuses here on the state of the Yidden when they came out of Mitzrayim, and that was like in biblical times, thousands of years ago. He says, most people, today's days, at an early stage, we do it the same exact way. We get close to the Torah as we get more mature. Most of us, even the young men, young women who learn and are very into davening, even from a young age, they still are not doing it necessarily for the sake of only doing it for Hashem. Their motives might be a little bit different. They might be, to get something in return. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because the Torah actually describes those things to give you reward. But the concept over there is to lure you along, to give you little trinkets, to get you more mature and to grow and to be better at understanding that the whole reason why we're here is so that we can do avodas Hashem. It's to become truthful and close to Hashem. Now, he also says over here, what is And I love this part. What is this Olam Ha'bah? What is this truthfulness that we look for in Olam Ha'bah? The real prize over here, by the way, just to understand, is to be next to Hashem, to bask in His closeness, in His greatness, and that's what it is, Olam Ha'bah. To be right there, to look Him in the face, or figuratively, but to be right next to Hashem and to understand, to be close, to learn, to hear, to just be there amongst others who are also there for Hashem. Tzaddikim, people that we looked up from, people that we learned from in the Torah, all that is the closest that we receive in Olam Ha'bah. Now the fourth reason why the Torah does not describe Olam Ha'bah is as follows. So mehem, shegemul ha'olam haba ein adam ro'eh lo b'maseyu ha'toy bavad. This is a very, very interesting piece, and he's going to explain this. I'm going to phrase it, but we're going to explain it a little bit more in a little bit. So it says that a person does not truly deserve reward in Olam Ha'bah. You're going to say, well, how's that? You told me I do mitzvos. Wait, hold on. He says, rather, a person receives reward, becomes fit to receive reward in Olam Ha'bah by virtue of two factors. And this is only after he does Masim Tovim, after he does mitzvahs. He gets it for two different reasons. He says like this. The first factor is, ha'echad, sheyoyer b'nei ha'adam avodas ha'bayri yis'ala. But not only personally performing mitzvahs, but also teaching other people about mitzvahs, about good things, about how to get close to Hashem. One of the most important things is that we are commanded that we should learn, we should do mitzvahs. But what goes above and beyond the call of duty, the whole concept of Hasidus, above and beyond the call of duty, Lifnim Mashir Saden, that concept is that, one of them over here is that if you're learning Torah, great. But you know how you get even more schar in Olam Ha'bah? By you teaching your friend, teaching your family the right and wrong, teaching them how to learn, teaching them the mitzvahs, refraining from doing averos. That's what it's about. V'yanhigim lasas ha'tov, and then guiding them to do good. It says in the pasuk, it says in the pasuk, those who teach righteousness to the multitudes, to all the people, will shine like the stars forever and ever. And the forever and ever means Olam Ha'bah. That's what it's referring to. And then it goes further, it says, and also it says, for the reprovers, it shall be pleasant, and a good blessing will come upon them. What is a reprover? Reprover is the person who rebukes someone for doing an avera. You go over to someone politely and say, hey buddy, you're not supposed to do that. And they say, oh, I'm sorry, that's good. Even if they might get upset at you, even if you might feel uncomfortable, but the reprover is the person who goes to them and teaches them the right way, even in a time where you think the person might actually lash back out against you. But over there it says that you'll have bracha, and that bracha, the blessing amongst them, means that's the bracha in Olam Ha'bah. When one who strives to teach the ways of Hashem combines the merit of inspiring others to righteousness, now it's another thing that when you go and teach Hashem's way, teach the Torah, with the merit of his own righteousness and the merit of his faithful heart, the acceptance of suffering for Hashem's sake. This is also that when you go out and you do your thing, you're learning Torah, you're doing mitzvahs, yet we still face what he calls over here suffering in Hashem's sake, acceptance. We still have trials and tribulations. Hashem provides for us opportunities. Trials and tribulations, you might call them. I like to call them opportunities. But those things come along the way. They're hard. They're difficult. We have things that we're missing, things that we need, difficulties in our lives, Yeshuas that we need. And by accepting all those hardships, those opportunities, those challenges with love from Hashem, that's another way how we earn aschar in Olam Ha'bah. He is deemed worthy by Hashem to receive reward in the world to come. And so, finally, we talk about this whole concept of reward in the world to come, and he goes into the second factor of this. We said there's two factors. Vasheni, and the second way of the one becomes fit to receive reward in the world to come, is chesed melehim unudava v'taiva, by being favored with kindness from Hashem, with his generosity and his goodness. What does that mean? What does that mean we get favored from Hashem? You're going to see over here in a second. Hashem gives us schar in Olam Ha'bah out of kindness, not out of we deserve it, but because he wants to. Because he wants to show us love. And how he says that is like this. It says, and yours, Hashem's kindness, when you repay each man according to his deeds. Whatever reward a person receives for his good deeds is not something he earns and deserves, but rather a kindness from Hashem. And we're going to explain over here in just a second what exactly that means. As an additional kindness, more than the immediate reward that you receive in this world, as an additional kindness, Hashem also grants everybody a piece of chaylik in Olam Ha'bah for that. And as we know, it says, Kol Yisrael Yeshem Chaylik Olam Ha'bah. It says, Chavos explains why a person's action cannot earn him reward. Why, when you go out and do a mitzvah, does that not give you a reward that you earn or deserve? Why is it just a kindness that Hashem is showing you and not something that, hey, I did something, I deserve that. I earned my keep with this thing. He says like this, the underlying reason for this is, even if a person's good deeds were so much that they filled up all the sand and all as much as the sand and the salt in the sea, they would not even be enough to pay even the smallest kindness that Hashem gives you on this world. So if you take all the schar and put it together, and you ask Hashem to pay for one of the kindness that He shows all of us every single day, all that schar doesn't even equal enough of a payment. So if it's like, if you gather all the world's money, and you say it's X amount of money, it's not even a tidbit of what it costs to get what we're looking for. And over here, we're talking about the schar and reward, getting the kindness from Hashem. Kol shekain, im yeh loichet, all the more so, do all of a person's good deeds not equal even one of Hashem's kindness, if he has ever committed a sin, meaning not only all your zechusim that you did are not enough to pay what you are, the kindness that Hashem is giving you, so you don't earn that, but throw in there the mix that you do one avera, now you're even further in that, right? So I've said last time, at the very best, let's say you could break even. If you never do an avera, and you only do all the mitzvos, at the very best you could only break even. And then even then, you won't even be able to repay Hashem for a molecule of kindness that He shows you every single day. V'im yidaktek habore im ha'adam, should Hashem be meticulous with a person, b'sviyas hadas ha'toiva, in demanding proportionate gratitude for the good that He bestows, meaning that if Hashem says, you know what? You want the kindness? Okay, I'm going to charge you full price, regular price. That's what you want to pay? You want risk reward over here? Here it is. He says, then all of a person's good deeds would be canceled out and disappear. When balanced against even the smallest of the kindness that Hashem bestows upon him. So if you want to go that route to say that, you know what, Hashem, I did a mitzvah, I deserve payment, no problem. You want to work on that, on the money system? For one little piece of goodness that I give you, you don't even have enough in your account built up for all those years that you're around to pay for that one kindness. Thus, whatever reward a person receives from Hashem, it's not genuinely deserved by him as a payment for his deeds, but rather it's Hashem showing kindness to you. Because at the end of the day, you can't afford the good stuff that Hashem gives you. None of us can. Even if you put together all the world's chesed that we ever did and come to Hashem, here, we have all the chesed over here. Give us something in return. We don't even have enough to pay for the smallest chesed that He gives us every single day without payment. Clearly, that must mean that the reward that we receive is for the sole purpose of Hashem's kindness. And Hashem's kindness and His goodness, and therefore Hashem couldn't promise you kindness and goodness and reward in the Olam Ha'bah because we don't deserve it. So Hashem is not going to write over there, you're going to get kindness and goodness because you might not even deserve that. Or you don't deserve that. But with the whole idea and the fact that we have this pasuk, it's Kol Yisrael Yeshlam Chelik Olam Ha'bah, that's strictly for people who do their best to fill the Torah. And if you did Averis, you do Teshuvah on that. But at that point, it's strictly a kindness that Hashem gives it to you because clearly you didn't earn it. You didn't have enough money, enough schusim to pay for it. You did Averos and that detracted from all that. So you're more and more and more in debt. And that is the reason, the fourth reason as to why Hashem does not mention Shaar Olam Ha'bah, because it doesn't really exist as a schar. It doesn't really exist as a system, a reward system that we look for. Thank you, everyone, for joining us all here today, and I love you all.